Good morning. Happy second Sunday of Lent. For the last 10 videos, I have been considering the nature of God and contemplating what the light of natural reason tells us about God. Today, I wanted to go a slightly different route and think about the nature of man, because man's nature also plays a role in determining what the true religion is. The fact is, and this I guess goes back to the very first video with the historical argument for the existence of God, we're unsatisfied by the things of this world. This is something, as we think about it, as we think about our experience of this world, there are things that satisfy us briefly, but ultimately we're called to something more. Man has, in other words, a religious sense. The question is, if man has a religious sense, if he's called to union with God, he needs to know how it is to arrive at God, what God's will for him is, how he ought to live his life. And according to the light of natural reason, all he has is the natural moral law, this sense of what it takes for him to be good, to live in accord with his nature. And yes, we have the natural moral law, but as we covered with the moral argument for the existence of God, even though the moral law is universal, we are a creature that tends toward the good, our interpretation of that is varied. It is not enough. Our fallen human nature, as we believers call it, is clouded. It clouds the intellect. We simply aren't always able to discern how it is that we ought to act. This is why God confirms the natural moral law, as he did to Moses in giving the 10 Commandments. Yes, these are things that natural reason tells us, but we need more than that. So what I'm trying to establish today is how, in fact, the nature of man requires revelation. We need God to reveal himself and his plan for us to us. We can expect, given our human nature, then, that God will reveal himself. There is a religion, there is a true religion. This ties back as well to the nature of God, because we've established that he is all good. He contains within himself the perfection of goodness. It would be contrary of his nature, given the way that he created us, for him not to reveal something of his will for us to us. Therefore, we need to search for the true religion. There is a true religion out there. There is a religion that reveals to us God's will for how we are to live. Now, the other thing we established regarding God's nature is we established that he is one. Therefore, this religion will be monotheist. And this leaves us really in world religions 3 options. We have Judaism. We have, with an acknowledgement of the Trinity, as we discussed the last few videos, we have Christianity. And finally, we have Islam. Those are really our 3 options for monotheistic religions that claim to have divine revelation from an almighty God and creator. Now, how are we to choose? Now, obviously, for the Jews, there is the belief that there is a Messiah yet to come. And even Muslims speak of Jesus and revere him as a prophet. What I'm going to propose, and this is how I'll continue in the future videos, is that we examine Christianity first. So I'm not going to denigrate Islam. I'm not going to speak about Judaism. I want to speak about Christianity because, in fact, if what Christ claims, that is to be God, is true, well, then he is the Messiah. And regarding Islam, it also would mean that the Muslims would need to reconsider what they believe about Jesus, and perhaps they have misunderstood him too. So we need to look at Christ's words and deeds. And this leads us to what's going to follow in the next few videos. We need a source, somewhere to look. And what we have are the scriptures. But are the scriptures reliable? Can we count on them for transmitting what it is that Jesus said and what Jesus did during his time here on earth? So that is what is to follow. God bless. Have a good Sunday.